Now, England face a huge World Cup qualifier against Spain next week as they bid to qualify for the 2027 World Cup in Brazil. Sarina Wiegman's side are training at St George's Park as they begin preparations for that game at Wembley. And we can head there live now and join our reporter, Anton Toloui. Anton, a very good afternoon to you. Great to see you. Over the last 24 hours, we've been asking fans to send in their questions for you about all things Lionesses. We've had absolutely loads in, so we're going to bombard them with you now. You look prepped, you look ready. Let's start off with Maisie on X. OK, big one to start with. Is Leah Williamson going to be fit? Asked Maisie.
So, it's been a while since we've seen Leah Williamson play. She's currently sitting there on the sidelines watching training go ahead. Now, England training started at about midday today. However, Williamson came out at about 11:30 to do lots of individual training. She hasn't played since mid-March because she's been dealing with a hamstring problem. So England are being very, very careful with their captain today. I'm told for the whole squad, there are no major concerns about players' fitness, but obviously they're being very delicate with the Arsenal defender because she's only started 2 WSL games all season. Look, obviously, when England take on the world champions, Spain, next week at Wembley, Sarina Wiegman will want her captain out there. But as you can see, England just being very, very delicate with the Arsenal defender. You see she's flanked by her teammates as they take a little break from training right now. Because obviously, look, she is absolutely sort of integral to what they're trying to do, which base themselves a stout defence, I suppose, to try to stop the flowing and free-flowing Spanish attack. Because this game is absolutely huge, isn't it? Because only the top team in World Cup qualifying is guaranteed to go through to Brazil next summer. So yeah, the players taking a little break now, all huddled around Leah Williamson, who did take part in an individual training session to start the day, and then is just sitting out training at the moment while they get ready for the next phase.
OK, well, the next question is from Charlotte on Instagram, who asked, do you think there'll be any changes to the lineup from the win over Iceland?
I think the big thing for Sarina Wiegman to think about is what she's going to do in the defence, really, because as we said, Leah Williamson, will she be there, or will she not be there? But also, who's going to be the second starting centre-back and who's going to play a left-back? Those are the other two questions she's probably going to be thinking about. You can see Taylor Hines behind Leah Williamson, behind Sarina Wiegman there. Obviously, she's played the last few games for England. She's trying to make a case to become England's starting left-back. Alex Greenwood is back in the squad as well. She was in the squad last time, but missed the last 2 games through injury. So those are the kind of 2 positions that they're looking at. Left back especially has been a problem position for England. Niamh Charles is back in the England squad as well after overcoming a persistent ankle problem. So she has a lot of defensive options. Centre back as well as the other one, like I said, because you've got Esme Morgan and you've got the likes of Jess Carter out there. Lotta Wubben-Moy's been in such good form for England. So lots for Sarina Wiegman to think about in defence. And as we were saying, we know how good Spain are on the attack. So that's going to be the one thing she's going to be focusing on the next training sessions for the next few days. And given, hopefully, she likes to have a lot of headaches, as she says, when she comes to selecting a starting lineup. The defence is probably where she has the strongest one. Well,
this one might give you a bit of a headache. Freya has asked on YouTube, is Alessia Russo the best striker in the world?
That's a great question, isn't it? Because you can define that by so many different metrics. You can't argue with the fact that Alessia Russo is playing probably the best football of her career right now. She's the top scorer in the Champions League. She has been absolutely integral for everything Arsenal have done, especially in 2026, because they've been on this huge this really impressive sort of run, winning 10 out of 11 games, I think it was, before the FA Cup defeat at the weekend. So yeah, she's absolutely vital to what she's doing for club and country. Whether she's the best forward in the world, I don't know. Bunny Shaw would like to have a conversation about that. Bunny Shaw scored twice as many goals as Alessia Russo in WSL this season, but obviously Russo plays more in a deeper position, doesn't she, for Arsenal, playing in a 10. For England, she's the out-and-out number 9. That will not change as long as Sarina Wiegman is in charge. You can see out there now, she's just sitting out there enjoying the sunshine with her teammates right now. But as soon as she gets on that pitch, she is all about the power and the precision that comes with being one of the best strikers in the world. When it comes to the Ballon d'Or list later this year, there is no major tournament this summer. So the stronger that she does in the Champions League, the more chance she has of potentially winning that trophy. So it's going to take a couple of months for her to potentially win the biggest individual prize out there.
They all look very relaxed, don't they, enjoying the sunshine at St George's Park. Noel on Reddit, we've really been covering all the social media bases with these, says, do you think Meg Parkinson will end up in the WSL?
Yeah, undoubtedly. She is one heck of a talent. It says a lot for a 17-year-old to be called up by Sarina Wiegman. Now, Wiegman's already said she doesn't really expect Parkinson to get much of a run out during this international period, considering these two games are so important. But she was desperate to see what Meg Parkinson can do within this senior setup, because she's been so impressive at youth level. She's only had a couple of games in the under-23 since she's got another 5 years of eligibility in that sort of level, but she's still out there sort of playing now potentially for the seniors. She's a player that obviously is now playing out in Portugal, and not for one of the big clubs in Portugal. And yes, WSL clubs are sniffing around. In an interview she gave last week with the BBC, she was saying obviously she's from a family of Manchester United fans. So obviously straight away, Manchester United fans were very quick to get on social media saying sign her up. But look, she's clearly somebody that England think is going to be potentially a mainstay in this central midfield for the next 10, 15 years. Potentially England maybe even be looking at who is going to replace the likes of Kira Walsh and Georgia Stanway when they're ready to step aside, and they're only in their mid-20s themselves. That is how brutal football is. But Sarina Wiegman isn't just looking for the next sort of couple of games, she's looking for the next few years ahead, even after she is an England head coach. And Parkinson is definitely seen as one of the players who is definitely the future of England.
Well, looking long term, Adam on X has asked this, and this will be a bit of a head scratcher because it's hard to imagine a scenario without her in the squad. But Adam asks, is there a long-term plan at right back for when Lucy Bronze retires?
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't think Lucy Bronze is out there training today, which I think suggests obviously look, England are sort of taking her fitness situation very carefully. She's in her mid-30s now, and she's been dealing with injuries all season. Remember, she played the Euros with a fracture in her leg as well. So England are looking at the right back situation. The favourite to take over from her is Leah Williamson. Now, Leah Williamson is a centre-back for her club, very much entrenched in that position for Manchester United. But Sarina Wiegman sees Williamson as being one of the cleverest players in this squad, tactically so astute. She can potentially pick up what Lucy Bronze does, because Lucy Bronze doesn't just play as a conventional right-back. She steps into midfield, she scores plenty of goals from set pieces, and she's great in the air as well. All things that Leah Williamson can do as well. She is potentially the player that England could look to become the next starting right-back. There isn't necessarily another player in the squad that you'd think can potentially be the next Lucy Bronze. Leah Williamson is definitely seen by Sarina Wiegman as somebody that can step in if needed. Look, the plan is for obviously Lucy Bronze to definitely be playing in Brazil next summer. You've also got sort of players within the under-23s they're looking at. You've got Neve Charles who can play both sides, Jess Carter who can play at right back as well. They have plenty of options, but I'd suggest probably Letitia is the one they probably think, actually, under Sarina Wiegman's system, she's the one that can come in. But if there is ever a problem at right back, you've got someone like Jess Carter who can come in, plug and play, and you know she'll do a good job. Look, she's coming into this England camp in great form as well, Carter. She then played a match for Gotham a couple of weeks ago out in the States as well. So, like I said, England defensively have loads of options. That is the biggest thing that Sarina Wiegman needs to figure out now and in the next few years.
Anton, expertly fielded, brilliantly answered. Thank you very much for the moment. Enjoy the sunshine.
Cheers, Anna.